Hello, and welcome to No Two Students Are the Same, and Neither Are Their IEP Goals. I'm Valerie Hill, an implementation coach with Digitability, working with teachers daily to support a wide range of student needs through evidence-based practices. And today, we are going to talk about how teachers can manage instruction and progress monitoring using evidence-based practices. As a Board Certified Behavior Analyst and a former autism support teacher, I know that every student has unique needs and that no two students are alike. It can seem like an impossible task to meet the needs of every student in one classroom. However, using evidence-based practices can help teachers address multiple student needs in every lesson. This includes reinforcement, prompting, and differentiation. Later in this webinar, we will use 4 tiered learning profiles to provide profiles of an individual student's current abilities and skills. These profiles will help identify a variety of evidence-based practices and strategies to incorporate within instructional activities using the lens of a Digitability lesson plan. We'll also be hosting an upcoming webinar focused on Bankability, our virtual banking app for special education students. More information about that is coming. Picture your classroom. If I asked you to think about all of the behaviors that you see in your classroom, what would you think of? Most teachers will name a range of challenging behaviors or behaviors that interfere with learning, the types of behaviors that we'd like to see less of. We'll talk about those, but first, think about the behaviors that you'd like to see more of, those pro-social behaviors, appropriate replacement behaviors, and so on. I'd like to begin by focusing on these behaviors because they often get overlooked when teachers have so many other things going on in the classroom. So what is reinforcement? The key to understanding how to shape behaviors is to understand reinforcement. Reinforcement is what comes immediately after a behavior is exhibited. We also call this a consequence. The reason we provide a consequence, like reinforcement, is to increase the likelihood of that behavior occurring again in the future. Think about all of the ways that you are reinforced in your daily lives. You go to work to be reinforced with money to pay our bills or to buy the things that we want, so you keep going to work. It's the same for our students, and the bottom line is that reinforcement works. And it's an extremely simple tool that can have a very powerful impact when used in the classroom to help students make progress toward their goals. So how do we do this when all the students in our class have so many different needs and goals? Let's take a look. In this webinar, we're going to showcase how reinforcement is used through the Digitability lesson plan format. To begin, I'll go over some program basics. Digitability started as the first digital literacy curriculum for students with autism, Down syndrome, intellectual disabilities, and other needs. It quickly evolved into a complete life skills curriculum for students in middle school, high school, 18 to 21 transition programs, and adult training. Every lesson plan is pre-written, scripted, and differentiated for teachers, and reinforcement is also built into all of the scripting and resources to make it easy for teachers to implement. Through each scripted lesson plan, specific language formulas are used to indicate when reinforcement is available and what specific behaviors will be reinforced. For example, teachers will use the phrase, "for a participation dollar." This signals to students that reinforcement is available and also identifies the behavior that is expected in order to earn reinforcement. Teachers may use this phrase in the beginning of each question or directive. For example, when a teacher is teaching online safety as a life skill, they may say, "For a participation dollar, raise your hand and tell me what you can share online." To keep this simple for now, let's say a student named Jonathan raises this hand and provides an example. He says, "I share music videos." the teacher will provide immediate feedback and reinforcement to him. In Digitability, it will sound like this. Jonathan shares music videos online. Nice job participating and earning $1. Now let's break down the formula that our Digitability teachers use to implement this best practice. First, the teacher will repeat the student's answer. Then, the teacher describes the behavior. And finally, they will deliver the consequence. When this strategy is implemented consistently, our classroom teachers see an increase in a variety of pro-social behaviors. This strategy can be used throughout the entire school day by teachers, support staff, therapists, and also at home by families. Let's watch a Digitability teacher using this practice in an autism support classroom setting.
The words that we had was a field. For a participation dollar, who can tell me what a field is? Raise your hand and wait to be called on. I see Chelsea's hand up. I see Xander's hand up. I see Alyssa's hand up and Jess's hand up. Chelsea, what is a field?
A field is like the top where you type like the game that you will do on, or like YouTube.
Okay, so what is a field?
It's like where you type up top the white rectangle thingy.
Okay, a long white rectangle thingy.
That's the field.
Okay, that's the field. Great job participating and earning $1. I like how you're using some of the language in the video.
In the first level of Digitability, students earn participation dollars for any instance of participation. Even if a student provides an incorrect answer, they still earn $1 because the expected behavior is participation. The goal is to reinforce the behavior, not the correct response. At the same time, teachers are structuring prompting and using positive narration to guide students to the correct answer. For example, while a teacher may be delivering instruction that is seemingly designed to teach internet safety, the larger portion of her implementation is actually focused on improving her students' expressive and receptive language, auditory processing and comprehension, their ability to attend to a task, and to lay a foundation for advanced behaviors, such as self-regulation and self-advocacy. So, what do these dollars mean to students? Sometimes students will ask, is this real money? While Digitability uses a virtual currency, the dollars have real value to students. As a Digitability implementation coach, I work one-on-one with teachers to design what we call a social economy. We brainstorm virtual bills to pay, identify reinforcers for each student, and provide strategies for differentiation and prompting. I can also help them personalize their current social economies by incorporating their existing reinforcement system. Whether teachers have an existing system or will be creating one for the first time with Digitability, what they really appreciate is how the entire process, along with the data, is managed in Bankability. Bankability is our virtual banking system that allows students to experience a real-world banking app while learning about financial literacy and workplace behavior. Students learn skills like budgeting, planning with money, paying bills on time, and more. Bankability allows for teachers to enter as many rewards and reinforcers as they need to ensure there's something for everyone. Students are able to make online purchases of these rewards, whether they're snacks or other tangible items or a preferred activity like time on the cell phone or watching YouTube videos. Making these purchasing decisions can address student financial literacy goals. For example, let's say a teacher made 5 minutes of iPad time cost $10. Students will have to make a financial decision about if they want to spend this amount of money each day, or should they save their money in order to pay an upcoming bill or potentially buy a more expensive reward like a movie day. For teachers who have never had a system like this, their biggest question is, what kind of bills or rewards can I make? Well, rewards should be reinforcing to students so that they are motivated to work for them. We know that not everyone likes the same things. Instructors should strive to understand what each of their students find reinforcing. To determine what each individual finds reinforcing, instructors can use tools called preference assessments. Preference assessments are used to identify potential reinforcers. A student indicates their preferences, and teachers can use that information to see if they may translate into effective reinforcers. Teachers can give this tool directly to students or families to complete, or teachers can complete it together with a student. There are multiple ways to conduct a preference assessment. One way is to simply ask a student an open-ended question such as, what kind of things do you like? What are your favorite things to do? Instructors can also structure these questions as multiple choice, such as by giving options or having students choose. Another version of this could include students rank ordering a variety of items or activities to indicate which ones they prefer to others. Finally, preference assessments can be conducted by an instructor observing students and taking notes on which items or activities students seem to engage in at higher rates as compared to others. I'm providing a free print and digital copy of this preference assessment along with some other free materials to everyone who registered. So if you haven't already, click the link in the YouTube description to register and receive this resource. Okay, so now we have an idea of what these dollars mean to students, but what do they mean for teachers? It means super easy progress monitoring data at the click of a button. Because teachers are entering these dollars into the payroll systems, teachers now have all the data they need to indicate that they are delivering evidence-based practices to support each student for a variety of goals like communication, behavior, financial literacy, digital skills, academics, and more. The teachers I work with really love that they can use this system throughout the entire school day and not just during digitability lessons. I like it too because it not only provides more opportunities for students to earn dollars, but it also continues to build their financial literacy and it strengthens each student's response to reinforcement, all while preparing students for real-life monetary contingencies. Bankability is one of our most popular components, and so to dive deeper into it, we'll be hosting a free demo to showcase all of the bankability features, including payroll, checking and savings accounts, making transfers, creating budgets, paying bills online, purchasing rewards, and more. Information to sign up or to learn more will be provided in a follow-up email to everyone who registered. You can find registration link in the YouTube video description for this webinar. So now that we've introduced the concept of reinforcement and how it can play out in a digitability lesson plan, we're going to use 4 different learning profiles to illustrate a wide range of needs and how the application of reinforcement can support communication, cognition, and behavior. We have 3 tiers of student profiles: Tier 1 Advanced, Tier 1, Tier 2, and Tier 3. Starting with our Advanced Tier 1 student, Drew. This student has executive functioning and emotional support needs. He has age-appropriate language, but also has low motivation to complete assignments and difficulty with self-regulation. Next is our Tier 1 student, Marcus. He is able to read and comprehend paragraphs. He's consistently helpful with his peers, but he often engages in interrupting and complaining. Our Tier 2 student is Abby. Abby has a low IQ. She speaks in 4 to 5 word phrases. She enjoys participating in lessons, but she tends to perseverate on princesses, which leads to her making off-topic comments. Jonathan is our Tier 3 student. He has a low IQ and he uses an AAC device inconsistently to communicate. Occasionally, he demonstrates aggressive behavior or not following directions. His top reinforcer is playing computer games. Some teachers may look at this and say, wow, I have all of these student profiles in my classroom. And others may only recognize one or a few characteristics. However, these 4 personas are not meant to represent any student exactly, but they're instead intended to illustrate a range of cognitive, communicative, and behavioral needs, along with potential strategies for each student. We're going to start with Jonathan, a Tier 3 student, and begin the warm-up section of the lesson plan. Again, Jonathan is a non-reader who uses an AAC device inconsistently to communicate. He demonstrates aggressive behavior and not following directions. Jonathan's preferred activity is to watch Sonic the Hedgehog video games on YouTube. In the warm-up, instructors ask students to set financial goals through the lesson plan scripting. Then, instructors have students build connections to real life and previous lessons to develop language and activate prior knowledge. In this example, we'll cover a variety of practices such as prompting hierarchies to address Jonathan's goals. During the warm-up, the teacher prompts students asking, for a participation dollar, who can tell me how much money they earned yesterday? Given Jonathan's current academic and language level, Jonathan will require some structured prompting in order to provide an appropriate response. Let's take a quick look at the prompting hierarchy. In order to appropriately prompt students, teachers should use this prompt hierarchy as much as possible. This includes verbal, gestural, such as pointing, visual, modeling, positional, and physical, which includes both partial and full physical prompts. To give students the opportunity to respond as independently as possible, teachers should use the least amount of prompting necessary before adding more prompts. We'll discuss this more as we explore the following scenarios. In order to give Jonathan the opportunity to respond to the warm-up questions, he should be given access to both his AAC device and the image exchange cards that are included in every lesson of Digitability. For the warm-up, there are cards with numbers to answer the questions about dollars earned, and there are cards to match the prior knowledge questions that are individualized to each lesson. Given Jonathan's low task attendance and difficulty with recalling information, the teacher will bring their physical presence and provide prompting. The teacher can gesture toward Jonathan's AAC device or toward the image exchange cards. There are multiple ways for Jonathan to respond. He can point to or exchange the image exchange cards. He can circle his response, or he could mark it with a bingo chip. The teacher should structure prompting to guide Jonathan to a correct response. For example, a gestural prompt could be given by the instructor motioning or pointing to the desired answer card, or a positional prompt could be provided by arranging the answer cards in an array and placing the desired answer card closer to Jonathan, with the others further away. These prompts can be applied to any given lesson or activity. Once Jonathan answers the question, the instructor will provide immediate feedback and reinforcement. To do this, the instructor will repeat his answer, describe his behavior, and deliver reinforcement. So the teacher may say, Jonathan said he earned $14 yesterday. Great job participating. You earned a participation dollar. Alternatively, the teacher can ask the question in a yes or no format. Let's watch one of our Digitability teachers using this strategy with a student profile similar to Jonathan.
All right. Christian, does the browser window help you move from one page to a different web page?
Yeah.
Yes, excellent. Fantastic, Christian. You got a participation dollar.
Some students, similar to our student Jonathan, have very limited reinforcers. To expand these, instructors can pair reinforcers. This is a process in which you pair known reinforcers with novel items to make the novel items themselves reinforcing. Over time, as the two are paired, the novel item will become reinforcing. This process is built into Digitability. Students learn through practice that they get to use their dollars to purchase rewards. Pairing the dollars to preferred items over time makes the dollars themselves more reinforcing. The teacher will hand Jonathan a physical dollar. To strengthen the pairing of the reinforcing relationship of the dollars and preferred items, Jonathan can keep his dollars that he's earned in an envelope that has a picture of his favorite computer game on it. This will provide a visual reminder that Jonathan is earning dollars to save up to buy time to play computer games. This pairs the computer game reinforcer with the dollars, making the dollars themselves more reinforcing. By reinforcing Jonathan's participation and answering the questions, he will be motivated to continue participating in future lessons. As we move into the guided watching section of the Digitability lesson plan, we'll feature our Tier 2 student profile, Abby, for this example, and we'll identify strategies to support her goals. Abby can speak in 4 to 5 word utterances. She has little reading comprehension. Her top reinforcer is listening to music. Abby tends to perseverate on princesses, which leads to her making off-topic comments. Each lesson plan is anchored in a video that will provide students with the vocabulary and concepts that will be used throughout instruction. To ensure that all students are actively engaged during the lesson video, teachers will use the thumbs up engagement strategy. This is when a teacher tasks all students with giving a thumbs up every time they hear the key vocabulary word in the video.
So let's watch this lesson, okay? And I know that Yasin is actively listening because his feet are under the desk, his hands are folded, his eyes are on me, and I know his ears are open. He's sitting very nicely. So you can also show me you're actively listening. Every time you hear the word URL, I want to see a thumbs up, okay? I want to see a thumbs up every time you hear the word URL in the video.
To increase time on task attendance while watching the short video, Digitability teachers use positive narration to draw attention to a student who is following directions. Here is an example of a teacher using positive narration while preparing students for the lesson video.
All right, we are going to earn our badge today. As we're watching the video, I am looking for you to be actively listening. Thompson's ready, I can tell. He's already got his eyes on the screen. The words we're listening for today are search results. Nope, search menu. We're listening for search menu. So when you hear the words search menu, you're going to give me the thumbs up.
By modeling that thumbs up routine and using positive narration, the teacher was able to increase the student's ability to attend to the content in the video and strengthen auditory processing and comprehension. While teaching financial literacy and online banking, the teacher will tell the class, when you hear the word bank statement, give a thumbs up and I'll add participation dollars. Our student Abby may not initially begin to engage in the thumbs up strategy. While the video is playing, Abby may start to make off-topic comments such as, "Princesses are my favorite." In order to redirect Abby, the teacher can use positive narration. For example, the teacher might say, "I see Jonathan and Marcus giving a thumbs up. Nice work earning following directions dollars. Who else would like to earn a following directions dollar and show me a thumbs up?" Alternatively, the teacher could use a visual and gestural prompt. Digitability provides print-ready visuals and digital files that can be used for this section of the lesson plan. The teacher could combine the use of visual and gestural prompts along with a verbal directive, such as, "I see Jonathan and Marcus giving a thumbs up. Nice work earning a following directions dollar. Abby, would you like to earn a following directions dollar and show me a thumbs up?" The teacher can also use a supplemental resource and their physical presence to engage Abby in this activity, creating an opportunity to provide positive reinforcement with some support. While we have described Abby as a Tier 2 student, she may benefit from a Tier 3 resource such as a picture of a thumbs up so that she can point to it and receive reinforcement. Abby, for a participation dollar, can you show me a thumbs up when you hear the words bank statement? In more advanced stages of Digitability's workplace behavior model, students will identify and practice more behaviors that will support their success in the workplace, as well as behaviors that can be perceived as problematic. In these lessons, Digitability will explicitly explain how interrupting impacts the workplace and strategies for developing self-regulation skills and self-advocacy plans for employment. At this point, students will begin to earn dollars for additional behaviors, and teachers will also be able to deduct dollars for inappropriate behaviors. After the lesson video, we move into the informal assessment, where we'll consider the advanced Tier 1 student Drew in this scenario to identify strategies to support his goals. Drew is academically on a high school level. However, he demonstrates difficulty with social-emotional skills such as self-regulation and responsible decision-making. His top reinforcer is time to use his phone during school. In the informal assessment, students are asked to recall key concepts from the lesson video as well as the definition of the key vocabulary term. The goal of the informal assessment is for students to recall information from the video and develop the language to express what they've comprehended. After the teacher asks Drew to recall what the video said and account balances, he may respond inappropriately as a means of gaining attention from his peers. Drew knows that providing an inappropriate response will make his classmates laugh and will result in the teacher reprimanding him, which will provide lots of attention. If the teacher were to address Drew by saying, "Drew, don't say that," then the inappropriate behavior would be reinforced because it has received attention. Instead, the teacher uses positive narration to draw attention to another student who is on task and following directions. When the teacher redirects attention to Abby by saying, "I see Abby is raising her hand. Abby, what did the video say an account balance is?" Then Abby provides a correct response by saying, "It's the money that you have in the bank." Then she is reinforced with a participation dollar. The teacher says, "Abby said, 'It's the money that you have in the bank.' Great job earning a participation dollar." This strategy diverts the attention away from Drew and toward a student who is displaying the expected behavior. Next, the teacher can give Drew another opportunity to earn reinforcement. This time, the teacher highlights the expected behavior as well as the reinforcement contingency. The teacher reminds Drew that he must respond appropriately in order to earn a dollar, and that his dollars can be used to purchase rewards. The teacher can provide verbal prompting to Drew to help him respond as needed. Multiple verbal prompts can be provided before the teacher moves on to another level of prompting. Because of Drew's low motivation, he may only provide a partial answer. The teacher will need to prompt him to expand on his response. The teacher can prompt him by asking a follow-up question. Once Drew says, "It's money," the teacher can say, "Good, it is money. Money that is where?" Drew may still only provide a partial answer, just saying, "In the bank." Again, the teacher can verbally prompt Drew to extend his response by saying, "Yes, in the bank, and what can you do with it?" Then Drew provides the final part of the definition, saying, "You can spend it." The teacher could also provide Drew with a supplemental resource, such as image exchange cards, to prompt Drew to give a response. While academically, Drew does not need the image exchange cards to provide a response, they can be used to lower the task demand and give Drew an opportunity to earn reinforcement. When Drew provides a complete response, the teacher will reinforce him using the Digitability language formula. Repeat the answer, name the behavior, and deliver the consequence. Drew said, an account balance is the amount of money in the bank that you can spend. Great job earning a participation dollar. While these strategies can help extend Drew's response due to a lack of motivation, they can also be used to prompt students with more limited language levels.
Jack. Hey Jack, I have a question for you. For a participation dollar, is the address bar where you type a URL? Come on, Jack. Yeah, point to your answer. What do you think? Yes, nice job. Where do you type the URL, Jack? Let me write down your dollar, Jack. I don't want to forget about that. How many dollars did you earn? $1? Okay. So let me ask you. Where do you type the URL? In the what? In the what? Is it in the website? No. Is it in the address bar? Yeah? All right, let's try another one. Yes or no? Is the address bar a field? Yes. So say it back to me. The address bar is a, say the whole sentence. Great. The address bar is a field. Do you type a URL in the address bar? Yes. So say it back to me.
Yes.
And say the rest of it back to me. You type
I type
a URL in the what? You got it. In the what? Add bar. Just Jack. Just Jack. Address what? Bar. So say it back to me. You type. Nice job. Good job using a complete sentence. I want to see more of those. So Jack earned another $1. Nice job.
When providing prompts, it is important to be sure to not over-prompt students by doing the work for them. This can lead to a learned prompt dependency and cause students to rely on prompts every time that they are asked to respond. It is important to give the student time to respond. This Digitability teacher will work to use the least amount of prompting necessary while encouraging others to support students without over-prompting. The next part of the lesson plan is the guided activity. We'll consider our Tier 1 student, Marcus. Marcus has good reading, comprehension, and writing skills. He is good at problem solving, but he often engages in complaining, interrupting, and not following directions. His top reinforcer is watching videos on YouTube. The guided activity is designed to shift the communication dynamic in the classroom from being teacher-led to student-driven. This is to get students workplace ready and to increase workplace communication skills and peer-to-peer collaboration. One student will be the leader, and they will stand in the front of the classroom and survey their peers to identify what they believe is the correct answer to their activity. After they receive input from their peers, the student who is leading the activity will select an answer. As Marcus leads the activity, the teacher prompts him to get feedback from his peers. Marcus, get feedback from your team about which answer they think is correct. However, Marcus selects an answer without asking for input. The teacher will redirect Marcus. Knowing that Marcus is reinforced by watching YouTube, the teacher should redirect him by reminding him of the reinforcement contingency. The teacher could say, Marcus, in order to earn participation dollars, you need to survey your classmates and get their feedback before you select an answer. With participation dollars, you can buy time to watch YouTube videos. Let's try again. The teacher can give Marcus strategies for surveying his peers, such as telling him to ask students to give a thumbs up or raise a hand if they agree with a certain answer. Over time, students will learn these routines, build fluency and confidence, and expand on their expressive and receptive language skills. This will make this process smoother. After being reminded of the expectations in order to earn reinforcement, Marcus then goes back and appropriately surveys his peers for feedback. Then the teacher can reinforce Marcus using the Digitability language formula.
Yeah. So now you're completing this activity, but let's ask your class what they think. All right, so come over here. You're now the teacher, and you're leading the class. Yep, you're in charge, buddy. Ready? All right, so ask your class, how would you survey them? That's okay. So you might say, how many of you think it's this one?
How many of you?
So go ahead up there and point.
How many of you guys think it's this?
Yeah, let's see. How many hands do you see up? None. Okay.
About this one?
How many hands do you see up?
Four.
4.
Five.
6. All right. 2 hands. Okay, so let's go back to the computer and you pick the one you think it is. And if you get it right, you will be responsible for dancing to whatever music comes on. You ready for that?
Oh, God.
We need Robin here.
I know. We need a hot rod.
The next part of the lesson plan is the exit ticket part 1. For exit ticket part 1, we'll think back to our tier 2 student, Abby. In part 1 of the exit ticket, students will be given a worksheet to complete that will allow them to demonstrate their learning from that day's lesson. There are 3 levels of differentiated resources for students to complete the exit ticket, including paragraph writing, a vocabulary block, and a trace and learn. Instructors should select the differentiated resource that is most appropriate for each student to complete. As students complete their worksheet, teachers should use the least amount of prompting necessary to support students. To do this, teachers use the prompt hierarchy, moving from the least intrusive prompt to the most intrusive prompt until the student is successful. It is important to provide at least 3 to 5 seconds of wait time in between prompts. During the exit ticket, the instructor sets the expectation for earning reinforcement by telling students that they will complete their exit ticket sheet in a given amount of time and set a timer. Students who complete their work by the deadline will earn a predetermined amount of participation dollars. The teacher will say, "I'm setting a timer for 5 minutes. If you complete your exit ticket by the deadline, you will earn $4. Students who complete their work after the deadline can still earn dollars, but fewer. To visually represent this, the teacher could tape a specific number of dollars next to a certain number of minutes. For example, if you complete your exit ticket in 5 minutes, you can earn $4. 7 minutes would be $3, and 10 minutes would be $2. The instructor can give Abby the vocabulary block to complete. Because Abby has some reading and little comprehension skills, this resource will allow her to organize the information into a simpler, more meaningful way as compared to the paragraph. Abby can either complete the vocabulary block on the worksheet or as a Google template, which is linked in every lesson. While completing her work, the instructor can prompt Abby toward classroom resources as needed to help her. For example, a gesture prompt could be provided by pointing or motioning toward the word wall definition and picture. If Abby has trouble getting started and is initially off task, the teacher can use positive narration to redirect her back to the task by saying, "I see Drew and Marcus are getting started on their exit ticket. They are on track to earn 4 participation dollars. Who else is working on their exit ticket for participation dollars?" After completing her work, the instructor should provide reinforcement to Abby using the specific language formula. This could look like, Abby, great job completing your exit ticket by the deadline. You earned 4 participation dollars. Abby knows that participation dollars can be used to purchase time to listen to music, so therefore, the participation dollars are reinforcing. Abby will continue to work hard to complete her work by given deadlines. Let's watch a Digitability teacher using this practice.
I'm going to come around and help you while you open your badge and pass out your exit slip. Okay, so you may open your computers and click on the URL badge. I'm going to put a timer on the board.
For part 2 of the exit ticket, we'll consider our Tier 1 student Marcus again. As a reminder, Marcus speaks in 2 to 3 word sentences, he engages in interrupting, he's a strong problem solver, and while not on grade level, he has good reading and comprehension skills. In part 2 of the exit ticket, selected students will present their exit ticket and other students can give them feedback on it. The goal of this is to shift the classroom dynamic from being teacher-led to student-driven. There should be a focus on peer-to-peer conversation, and teachers should redirect students to their peers rather than facilitating conversations for them. This process is laying the foundation for the work simulation component of Digitability, where students get hired for jobs and practice workplace communication, such as participating in interviews or performance review meetings, as well as self-regulation and self-advocacy. But we'll talk more about work simulations in a minute. The teacher will ask a student to present their exit ticket to the class by saying, "For a participation dollar, who would like to come up and present their job assignment?" Our Tier 1 student Marcus may have completed the vocabulary block resource, and he may require prompting to expand on his presentation. For example, he may read word for word on his paper without engaging his audience. The teacher could verbally prompt him by saying, "Remember to pause at the end of a sentence to look up at your peers." Over time, this will help Marcus improve his presentation skills and expressive and receptive language. Marcus may also say, "Here's my drawing," rather than explaining what he drew. To verbally prompt him, the teacher could say, "Marcus, tell us what you drew and why did you pick that to draw?" This will help Marcus expand his expressive language. Let's watch a Digitability teacher using this practice in the virtual classroom environment.
Chris M., first tell us your sentence. What do you have there? Read that for us.
Oh, dear. I can use my Safari browser to search up what I'm looking for.
Okay, Kevin, can you give him some feedback? I'll put the feedback sheet up here for you.
I like that how he spoke with his sentence.
Okay, and Chris M., what was his feedback for you?
He liked the way I spoke my sentence.
Right, and you tell him thank you. Say thank you.
Thank you.
Did Yanni earn?
How many do you have for Yanni? I have 3.
Okay.
I have 3. I gave everyone for the thumbs
That
up.
sounds good to me.
Okay. All right. How about for Justin? How many dollars did Justin earn?
5.
I got 4, so I didn't get some. All right.
Okay. And how many did Kevin earn?
Kevin also got 5.
Good job.
And Beck got 2.
Yeah, good job, Beck, with 2. All right. All
Good
right.
job, guys.
Time on our next live lesson for Digitability, okay?
Yeah, this is good. This is fun.
Another way that reinforcement is built into Digitability is through reinforcing the development of expressive and receptive language, which is embedded in the exit ticket. A workplace communication rubric is included in each lesson to measure both receptive and expressive language. Using this rubric, students will be scored on expressive and receptive language. These scores will be entered into Bankability, which will automatically track student data, making progress monitoring and IEP data tracking simple. Families and practitioners can use this rubric to score any type of presentation, even outside of a Digitability lesson plan. The rubric will help identify strengths and weaknesses in the areas of communication. As a coach, I often work with teachers with varying verbal needs in their classroom, and many times teachers will ask, how can my nonverbal students present to the class? Let's look at our Tier 3 student, Jonathan, to demonstrate. In Part 1 of the exit ticket, Jonathan will have completed the Trace and Learn, tracing the definition of the key vocabulary term. When Jonathan presents his exit ticket, he can do so using his communication device with a teacher prompting him through it with gestural and model prompts. Or he can point and follow along with his finger while a teacher or peer reads his definition aloud. While doing so, Jonathan can work on skills such as facing the direction of the audience and making eye contact with his peers. This is also a great opportunity for the peers to have experiences with attending to a peer rather than attending to their teacher. When providing feedback, Jonathan should be given the image exchange cards in order to both share something that he liked about his peer's exit ticket and a question he had. The instructor may use a positional prompt by moving 1 or 2 image cards closer to Jonathan. A physical prompt could be used to move Jonathan through the motions of selecting a card and exchanging it. Jonathan should be given a participation dollar for both presenting his exit ticket and for providing feedback to a peer on their exit ticket using the Digitability language formula. Jonathan, great job presenting your exit ticket to the class. You earned a participation dollar. Let's watch a student profile that is similar to Jonathan give a presentation and offer his peers feedback using his communication device.
I give respect to all the West Coast legends for supporting hip hop. Shout out to everybody in West Coast for doing our thing. Ooh.
Here's all the information. If you want, you can put it all in the email. Put it all in the orange box.
What happened?
You send email.
Hello everyone, my name is Marcus Johnson, and I'm here to tell you about what do I know about mammals. Some mammals can hunt, play, and swim, climb, and some don't fly.
Lion, elephants, and zebra, all of that, man.
The final part of the lesson plan is the wrap-up. We'll think back to our advanced Tier 1 student, Drew. For the lesson wrap-up, the instructor will read off the total earnings for each student. Doing so reinforces financial literacy and participation as an appropriate workplace behavior. The teacher will then prompt students to think about what they will do with their earnings. This may include paying bills, purchasing rewards, or saving for larger purchases. Then, students will return to their My Income Goals worksheet and record their earnings for the day, which they can compare to the goal they set for themselves that day during the warm-up. The teacher will ask students, for a participation dollar, who can tell me what they will do with their earnings? Given Drew's tendency for low motivation, he may complain or say, I'm not doing this. One strategy that the teacher can use to address interrupting and complaining is positive narration. The teacher can direct attention to a student who is displaying the expected behavior and will contact reinforcement, using them as an example for Drew. Okay, I see lots of hands up in the air. Abby has her hand up, Marcus has his hand up. Does anyone else want to earn a participation dollar by raising their hand to answer? Additionally, the teacher could directly remind Drew what he can purchase with his participation dollars and the expected behavior to get dollars. This will build his motivation. Drew, remember when you earn participation dollars, you can buy time on your phone, and you can't use your phone any other time during the school day. The only way is to buy it by earning enough dollars to purchase it. When Drew provides his response, I will buy time to use my cell phone. He can earn a participation dollar, and the instructor will provide immediate feedback by repeating his answer, describing the behavior, and giving him the dollar. Drew will buy time to use his phone. Great job earning a participation dollar. While these strategies of positive narration, prompting, and reinforcement are effective in addressing low motivation to participate, these same strategies can also be used to re-engage students who have stopped attending to a task, especially during a transition. These scenarios demonstrate how evidence-based practices can be embedded into every part of a lesson plan and with a diverse group of learners. So, what is all of this reinforcement and behavior shaping working toward? We are getting our students ready to enter the workforce. As teachers, we only have a limited amount of time with our students before they graduate. During that time, the goal is to ensure that students have the workplace-ready skills to gain meaningful employment. The skills that students gain through Digitability culminate in the work simulation. This includes project-based activities that give students real hands-on work experience. While taught through our scripted and planned lessons, each work simulation is completely customized to every individual classroom. And with Digitability, you get a coach like me to help you plan and make sure that you have everything needed to create a classroom that runs itself. This allows students to graduate with not only the work-ready skills that we've strengthened through reinforcement, but also with real work experiences that set students up for success in the workplace, and students have a portfolio that includes tangible assets that they get to take with them once they graduate and move on to whatever their next step is. To demonstrate the work simulation, let's meet Deshawn, a Digitability graduate who completed a work simulation.
This is Deshawn, a Digitability graduate who is now working in a human resource office. Deshawn's high school had a community garden project. Digitability worked with the school's community partner to customize the work simulation and prepare students with skills needed to get a job in today's tech-driven economy. Deshawn and his classmates created a website to promote the garden and help sell the produce to the community. Deshawn was hired as inventory manager. In Deshawn's role, he learned how to create a Google spreadsheet and use it to organize the inventory, prices, and images for the site. Deshawn learned how to use the functions of Google Drive, Sheets, Slides, and Gmail to share information and collaborate in the cloud with his classmates. Digitability also taught Deshawn how to showcase his work-ready skills while developing his social and communication abilities for the workplace. This training helped Deshawn obtain employment. Today, he is recognized as a valued member of his team.
The Digitability work simulation is broken down into 4 phases. Each phase builds on the previous one to prepare students to be work-ready by providing the skills and behaviors necessary to be successful in a workplace. Digitability will host another webinar to go deeper into the work sim. More information to come. Now we'll think back to our 4 student profiles and review how they each may participate in a work simulation. Each role in a work simulation is differentiated, so there's always a role for every student to play. For example, in this simulation, Drew, our advanced Tier 1 student, could be hired for the role of project manager. The project manager's main responsibilities include working with the CEO or the teacher to oversee the other team members and the jobs being completed in the classroom. Their job is to record other team members' activity during the day and provide leadership and direction to the team. Where previously Drew exhibited attention-seeking behavior from his peers, he is now in a position to develop leadership skills and strengthen his organization abilities. In a leadership role, the teacher can help Drew build on his self-regulation and his self-confidence. In this simulation, Marcus, our Tier 1 student, could be hired as the web UI designer. The web UI designer's main responsibilities are to organize the layout of the digital product and to review what has been added by other coworkers. Marcus will be a good fit for this role because he has strong problem-solving skills. He'll also be in a position where he needs to collaborate with peers, which will help him self-regulate his tendency to complain. In our simulation, Abby could be hired as the assistant copywriter. The assistant copywriter's main responsibility is to assist the copywriter in writing the content for the web pages. In an assistant role, this means that the student may have a support staff member supporting Abby in all of her tasks. Abby's a good fit for this role because she can work as a part of a team. This will appeal to her strengths of sharing with others and being an active participant in lessons and projects. Additionally, researching and summarizing for the work simulation will help Abby to expand her interests to more age-appropriate topics. In our simulation, Jonathan could be hired as an assistant multimedia manager. The assistant multimedia manager's main role includes assisting the multimedia manager in selecting and importing images and videos. In an assistant role, this means that the student may be paired up with another student or have a support staff member supporting Jonathan in his tasks. Jonathan will be a good fit for this role because it is very visually based, which is how Jonathan learns best. He will work on a team with others who can help guide and support him during the work simulation. All of these job roles can be further modified. For example, if Jonathan is not yet able to follow multiple steps to download an image, he can instead work to identify an image that he would like to use on his device. Meanwhile, the teacher can work on teaching following a multi-step routine. Teachers across the country are creating work simulations and through this process are now connected in a new way, showcasing their ideas for promoting independence and teaching self-advocacy. We will also share a link so all participants can go explore their projects. You can also find them on our website. Through reinforcement of workplace-ready skills and behaviors, students gain the necessary skills to be successful in a work environment. Through the use of evidence-based practices, students develop these skills and are better prepared for meaningful employment. As a reminder, we'll also be hosting an upcoming webinar focused on Bankability, our virtual banking app for special education students. More information to come. Now we have some time for questions, so go ahead and put any questions that you may have in the chat. Hello, and welcome to No Two Students Are the Same. All right, does anyone have any questions? You can go ahead and put them in the chat. If not, we can go over some frequently asked questions, some questions that we often get. So one of the questions that a lot of teachers may ask us is, how long does each lesson last? Or how frequently do I need to use Digitability? And the answer to that question would be that it's totally flexible and it is completely up to your classroom. Some classrooms may take a a half an hour to do a lesson. Some classrooms may spread that out over a couple of days. It's really based off of the needs of your students and how much time that you have to dedicate to your lesson. So you can work with your implementation coach to figure out what works best for you. Let's see the chat. Another question that people will often ask is, what if I already have a social economy set up in my classroom? So for example, if you already use a point system, how can I use that with Digitability? So with Digitability, we can incorporate any existing social economy into Digitability, and we can work with the teacher to enable you to use the Digitability social economy throughout the entire school day. We can do things like if you have a point system in your classroom, we can have points equal dollars, and students can have more opportunities throughout the day to earn participation dollars.